I want you to picture a scene for a second. It's evening, the light's getting soft,
Okay.
maybe a little too dim to really see clearly. And there are two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting on a couch.
Knees almost touching.
Exactly, knees almost touching. One of them is just doom scrolling, endlessly swiping up on TikTok. The other is staring out the window at a parked car.
And there's no yelling.
No yelling, no plates being thrown. To an outsider, it looks, well, peaceful. Maybe even cozy. But if you were actually in that room, the air would feel heavy, like thick. There's a profound absence sitting right there between them.
It's such a haunting image because it is so incredibly common. And we usually have, soft language for this. We say we're growing apart, or we call it solitude.
Right.
But looking at the stack of research on Gestalt psychology we have today, the diagnosis is much sharper. The sources call this the illusion of connection.
Which honestly sounds way worse than just being alone. Being alone is clear. This feels like a lie you're telling yourself.
It is disconnection masquerading as closeness. And that's really where we have to start. We aren't looking at communication hacks today. We are looking at a fundamental shift in how we perceive reality. The central premise for this deep dive is that we treat relationships like nouns when they're actually verbs.
Okay, let's pause there because I don't want this to turn into a grammar lesson. When you say we treat them like nouns, you mean we treat them like stuff, like things we own.
Yes, that's it precisely. Think about how we talk. I have a relationship, like I have a Honda Civic.
Or a toaster.
Or a toaster. It's a static object. And if the toaster breaks, I need to fix it. Or if it's really broken, I need to throw it out and get a newer model. We view the relationship as a thing separate from us that needs maintenance.
I definitely do this. I think of the relationship as this third entity that I have to manage. Like a garden I have to water or it dies.
But the Gestalt approach argues that a relationship isn't a noun, it's a process. It is a verb. It pulses. It moves.
You can't fix a process.
You can't. You can only participate in it. And when you try to fix your partner or the relationship, you are trying to freeze a living river into a block of ice so you can carve it into a shape you like.
Wow, that's a wild image. So, if we stop trying to be mechanics fixing the toaster, what are we?
We become witnesses. The goal shifts from fixing to noticing. And to understand how to do that, we have to talk about how the human brain actually constructs reality. This brings us to figure and ground.
This sounds a little like Psych 101, but I have a feeling you're going to complicate it.
It's foundational, but the application here is profound. Gestalt theory tells us we never see isolated data points, we see wholes. When I look at you, I don't see left ear, then nose, then hair.
You see a face.
I see a face. My brain organizes the chaos into a figure, the thing I'm focusing on, and the ground, the context it sits in.
Right, like if I'm at a loud party and I'm talking to you, your voice is the figure and all the music and chatter is the ground.
Exactly. But here is the problem when we apply this to the person on the couch. When you look at your partner, you think you are seeing them as they are. You think you're seeing a neutral human being.
And I'm not.
You are not. You are seeing a figure emerging from a very specific ground, and that ground is not the living room wall.
The ground is inside me.
It is your history. It is your past injuries, your cultural conditioning, your childhood fears. That is the background context against which you see your partner.
So sticking with the photo analogy, if the background of the photo is super chaotic or blurry, I can't actually see the subject clearly. I'm just seeing the noise.
Or worse, you are projecting a different image entirely. If your ground is noisy with fear or, say, abandonment issues, the figure of your partner gets distorted. You stop relating to the actual person sitting next to you.
You start relating to a symbol.
You start relating to a symbol. You start relating to a character in a play that was written 20 years ago.
Okay, let's make this real. Go back to the guy staring out the window. If I'm that guy and I'm feeling neglected, I look at my partner scrolling on their phone. I don't see tired person decompressing after work. What do I see?
You see rejection. You see evidence that I am not loved. That figure rejection is being carved out of your own background of insecurity. You aren't interacting with your partner anymore.
I'm interacting with my own ghost.
You are. The source material calls this a cluttered ground.
Cluttered ground. That feels very accurate. It's like trying to watch a movie, but there's static on the screen. And the static is made of all my exes and my parents.
And this leads us to the mechanism of why the ground gets so cluttered. This is one of the most practical concepts in this entire deep dive: unfinished business.
Which sounds like a bad mafia movie title.
It does. The technical term is an unfinished gestalt. The human psyche is obsessed with equilibrium. It wants to close the loop. So if you have an experience that's interrupted, a need that wasn't met, a word that wasn't said, it stays open.
It's an open circuit?
It's an open circuit in your nervous system.
So it's like getting a song stuck in your head because you only heard the first half.
It is much more visceral than that. It's a tension in the body. If you were raised in a home where you were invisible, let's say you were the good kid who never caused trouble, so you were largely ignored, that need to be seen is an open loop. It's a hunger that never got fed.
So now I'm an adult, I'm in a relationship. What happens to that hunger?
Your nervous system tries to close the loop now. It tries to reenact the scene so it can finally find resolution. You will unconsciously pick partners who might ignore you, or you'll interpret innocent behaviors as being ignored, just so you can feel that old feeling and try to fix it.
That is twisted. We recreate the thing that hurt us.
We recreate the thing that is unfinished. The sources use a really powerful example here. Imagine a man who was punished for being angry as a child. His equation is anger equals danger. That's his ground.
Right.
Now, 30 years later, his partner gets excited, not even mad, just loud, passionate. Maybe she's shouting about a sports game or a political election.
But his body doesn't register excitement.
No, his body registers a threat. He sees a monster. He withdraws to protect himself. But he isn't protecting himself from his wife. He is protecting himself from his father. He's replaying the old tape.
And the tragedy is, by withdrawing, he invites her to actually become angry.
Yes, he creates the very monster he fears.
Because she's like, why are you shutting down? Talk to me.
Yeah.
And now she is angry.
And the loop closes. He says to himself, see, I knew anger was dangerous. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy born from unfinished business.
This explains those rigid roles we fall into. You know, the nag and the stonewaller, the responsible one and the mess. We think we just happen to be these people, but you're saying we cast ourselves in these roles to keep the system stable.
Stability is the operative word. We so often prioritize stability over aliveness. We would rather play out a miserable, familiar script than face the uncertainty of being truly alive with another person.
Because if I drop the role, who am I?
Exactly. If I stop being the victim, I have to be responsible for my life. That is terrifying.
It's safer to be miserable than to be unknown. That's bleak.
It is human. But this brings us to the biggest, most abstract concept in the research, and we need to take a second to really get this one right. We have to talk about the field.
Yeah, this part of the reading made my brain hurt a little. It challenges the idea that I end at my skin and you begin at yours.
We are conditioned to think of ourselves as billiard balls. Separate, hard objects bouncing off each other. Gestalt says, no, there is no me and you in isolation. There is only the relational field.
The sources use the wave and ocean metaphor, which is classic, but can we ground that a bit more? It feels a little too yoga class.
Okay, fair enough. Think of an ecosystem. Think of a wolf and a deer in a forest. You cannot understand the wolf's behavior just by analyzing the wolf's brain. The wolf moves the way it does because of the deer, because of the terrain, because of the weather.
The field is the whole ecosystem.
The whole ecosystem. The wolf and the deer are just functions of that field.
So if the wolf is acting aggressive, it's not because he's a bad wolf. It's because the field, the scarcity of food, the winter, the terrain demands aggression.
Precisely. Now apply that to your marriage. If there is tension, it isn't in you or in your partner. It is a property of the field between you. You are the wolf responding to the weather. The sources reframe relationship problems as field disturbances.
Wow.
And this leads to the concept of isomorphism.
Whoa, okay, that's a very $10 word.
Yeah.
Iso means same, morph means shape, same shape.
Right, same structure. Isomorphism suggests that the inner structure mirrors the outer reality. If your internal architecture is rigid, if you've walled off your own sadness, if you have segmented your own emotions into good and
I'm
bad,
going to build a relationship that has the same walls.
you will inevitably build a relationship with those same walls. You cannot build a house different from the blueprint you carry inside. If your internal world is fragmented, the field you generate will be chaotic.
You create the environment that matches your internal structure. This is a punch in the gut for anyone who thinks, if I could just get my partner to go to therapy, we'd be fine.
It is the ultimate trap. Because when you try to fix the other person, when you blame or manipulate or demand they change, you are actually reinforcing the rigid structure. You are acting out the controller. The more you push, the more they pull away, and the field remains perfectly balanced in its dysfunction.
So we're stuck on the couch. I'm projecting my unfinished business onto you. You're projecting yours onto me. And the field is just a mess of ghosts and old scripts. How do we break this? How do we pivot? Because just trying harder clearly just adds more noise.
we pivot to noticing. And this isn't passive, it's an active, radical shift in attention. We have to move from interpreting to witnessing.
The sources talk about a specific intervention here, a question you ask yourself.
What am I bringing into this space? Or even more specifically, what old hunger am I feeding with this silence?
That requires so much humility. You have to stop looking at them and look at your own lens.
It creates what Gestalt calls the gap of not knowing. And this is the scariest place to be. As long as you are sure you know what your partner is thinking, he's ignoring me, she thinks I'm lazy, you are safe. You are in control of the narrative.
But the moment you say, I actually don't know what this silence means,
Or drops out.
I hate that feeling. I don't know, it feels like free fall.
It is free fall, but it is also the only place where contact can happen. True contact isn't merging with someone, it is meeting them at the boundary. And you can only meet them if you stop painting over their face with your own history.
There was an example about a woman interpreting her husband's silence. She stops the story, she says, okay, he's quiet, I'm feeling scared. My story is that he hates me. But the reality is, he is just quiet.
And in that gap, she has a choice. She can ask a real question, not a trap question like, why are you ignoring me, but a real one. I'm noticing you're quiet and I'm making up a story that you're mad. Is that true?
That is risky, though, because he might say, yeah, actually, I am mad.
He might. But now you are dealing with reality, not a ghost. Now you are in the room. You are no longer hallucinating.
Okay, but here's where I have to push back. I was reading the final section of these sources about the freedom of letting go, and it got uncomfortable. The implication seemed to be that sometimes the fix is that the relationship ends.
It is the part of the theory that people resist the most.
Well, yeah, because if I'm listening to this, I probably want to save my relationship. And you're telling me that healing might mean breaking up? That feels like failure. That feels like giving up.
I understand that reaction. I do. But we have to redefine success. In our culture, success is longevity. If you stay together for 50 years and hate each other, that's considered a successful marriage.
Right.
Gestalt argues that success is fidelity to the truth of the moment.
But isn't that just a cop-out, oh, my truth is that I want to leave?
It's deeper than that. It goes back to Martin Buber's philosophy of I thou versus I it. An I it relationship is transactional. I use you to feel safe. I use you to not feel lonely. You are an object, and that creates stability for me.
Okay.
An I thou relationship is meeting you as a sovereign mystery. I am with you because I see you, not because I need you to prop me up. And here is the paradox. You cannot have an I thou relationship if you are terrified of losing it.
Explain that.
If I need you to stay so that I don't fall apart, I am clutching you, I am controlling you, I am not seeing you, I am seeing my life raft. To truly love someone, you have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You have to be willing to let the relationship die in its current form.
So that a real one can be born.
Yes. Or not. The death might not be a breakup, it might be the death of the noun, the death of the contract.
The relationship you were trying to save is often just a set of rigid roles and safety agreements.
And that has to die. The wave has to crash back into the ocean.
This reminds me of that line about surrender. Not surrendering to the partner, but surrendering to the field.
We cling to the form because we are afraid of the ocean. We are afraid of the chaos. But the source implies that when you stop forcing the river, you align with the organic intelligence of the field. You stop manipulating.
And that's the ultimate test of faith. You withdraw your projections, you own your mess, you stop managing them, and you just see what happens.
And what happens might be that they finally feel free enough to come closer. Or what happens is you realize you are 2 different species who need different ecosystems.
And both of those are better than the illusion of connection.
Both are truth, and truth is the only solid ground.
It really shifts the responsibility. It stops being, why are you doing this to me? And becomes, what figure am I carving out of this ground?
That is the question. And it's a question you have to ask every single day. It's not a one-time fix. It's a practice of awareness.
So let's bring it back to the couch. We've gone from seeing that couple as just bored to seeing them as trapped in a hall of mirrors of their own making.
And we see that the way out isn't to shake the other person and yell, connect with me. The way out is to close your own eyes for a second, look at your own ground, and clear the clutter.
We can't force connection.
No, connection is what remains when we stop blocking it.
There was a line in the notes that really stuck with me. The relationship you save might actually be the one you are finally free to release.
And in that release, whether you stay or go, you don't find emptiness. You find space. And space is the only place where anything new can grow.
So here is our challenge to you, the listener. It's a hard one today. The next time you feel that ache of disconnection, maybe you're on the couch tonight, maybe you're at dinner, don't rush to fix it. Don't start the argument just to feel something.
Just sit with it. Notice the itch to blame. Notice the story you are writing about the other person. And ask yourself, am I interacting with the person sitting right there, or am I interacting with a memory?
Be brave enough to not know the answer for a minute. See what emerges from the silence.
It might be scary, but at least it will be real.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the field.